What's up, y'all? Alexander here. Sorry it's very late for my time, but we're gonna get some news here. So, today, Germany has done something. Germany Germany sends tanks to Ukraine. They send the tanks to Ukraine. United States says Russia will be defeated and Ukraine will win victory. So I got two videos to show. So this is going to be the first video. Let's watch this one first. Take a while to listen.
As the conflict in Ukraine enters its third month, the United Nations Secretary General has embarked on a diplomatic mission to Moscow. Antonio Guterres took part in talks with President Putin, after which the Russian leader repeated his stated reasons for invading Ukraine, while claiming that he still hoped for a diplomatic solution. In a major policy move, Germany has now authorized the supply of dozens of tanks to Ukraine, and the US has committed to supporting Ukraine's resistance for the long haul. Our Russia editor, Steve Rosenberg, reports now from Moscow.
He was trying to show it was business as usual. In the Kremlin, Vladimir Putin began the day meeting Russian Olympic champions. Like them, he hates losing. With the Olympians, Putin was up close and personal. Not so with his next guest. The UN Secretary General had come to talk about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The seating plan said everything about the gap between Moscow and the international community.
Вы говорите, что гуманитарные коридоры России не действуют.
You're telling me that Russia's humanitarian corridors in Ukraine are not functioning. Mr. Secretary General, you've been deceived. The corridors are open. We've helped more than 100,000 people leave Mariupol.
And from the UN, a plea to Russia for peace.
It is my deep conviction that the sooner we end this war, the better. For the people of Ukraine, for the people of the Russian Federation, and those far beyond.
The Kremlin agreed in principle to UN and Red Cross involvement in evacuations from Mariupol. But Moscow isn't rushing to halt its offensive. For diplomacy to succeed, there needs to be the political will for peace. But right now, there's little sign of that in the Kremlin. Vladimir Putin seems determined to continue the offensive he launched in Ukraine, at least until he can secure what he can present to the Russian people as a victory. That means no ceasefire in Ukraine. The Russian military continues to attack and continues to deny that Russian troops have committed war crimes. Kremlin critics argue that considering the scale of destruction, the UN chief should have travelled to Ukraine first before flying to Moscow.
I'm not in a position to give any advices to the General Secretary of the United Nations, but I would probably go to Mariupol first. I would go to Bucha. I would go to Irpin. I would go to all these places, talk to people, and then fly back to Moscow and meet with Putin and say, Mr. President, what you're doing is crime.
Russia claims to be acting in self-defense, but it was President Putin who ordered his troops to attack Ukraine. The Kremlin started this.
I agree. Vladimir Putin is the one. Excuse me. Vladimir Putin is the one who is the cause of attacking, sending his military to Ukraine. Vladimir Putin, if you want to see this, you're in big trouble, man. You're dead. Because I had enough of your shenanigans. I had enough. What have you done to Ukraine? It's not cool. Not fucking cool. And also, I hope he died. That's what's gonna happen here. I would love to hurt you, Vladimir Putin. If I was in Russia right now, I'm taking Russia down. And I don't care what I say, but it's true. I'm sorry for sending death threats in this video. I'm just pissed at Vladimir Putin right now. The way he's acting. So... Vladimir Putin, this is your fault. You should be ashamed of yourself what you have done to Ukraine. Zelensky is better than you. So let's continue this video.
It's determined to end it on its terms.
Oh, and another thing to say, the war will end. And Russia's going to pay the price to rebuild Ukraine. So, Russia, you're going to pay for this. And don't listen to Vladimir Putin.
Well, that was Steve's report. And let's join him now live in Moscow, our Russia editor, Steve Rosenberg. Steve, you observed that session today, President Putin and Antonio Guterres. What did you make of President Putin's own demeanour, if you like? And what have we learned about the latest thinking in Moscow?
Yeah, well, first of all, what have we learnt about Vladimir Putin? That nothing has changed. There is no sign that the Kremlin leader is ready for peace. He continues to try to justify his actions, justify his so-called special military operation. And seating the UN Secretary General at that enormous table, that...
By the way, I'm going to just do one video. It's going to be this one right here, so yeah.
was a real statement, I think. I mean, this was not a host who was saying, welcome to Moscow, let's have a cozy chat. The second thing is, there is growing tension, we see it, between Russia and the West. Today, Moscow accused Britain of trying to provoke Ukraine into attacking targets on Russian territory.
Really now? Come on now, Russia. That's seriously did it, Britain. UK is better than you. Come on. You should realize that. I will attack Russia territory and it's going to happen.
And one of Mr. Putin's closest allies, Nikolai Patrushev, who heads the powerful Security Council, Russian Security Council, he claimed that the actions of Western governments and the Ukrainian government would lead to the breakup of Ukraine into several states. That sounds like a warning or even a threat. So basically what we're...
Wow, a threat? Well, that's not good.
Seeing from Moscow is not de-escalation, it's escalation. And another example of that, from tomorrow, Russia is stopping gas supplies to Bulgaria and to Poland. So as well...
Wow. Seriously, the gas thing. Really.
As well as this military conflict now, it seems that we're going to have an energy war too.
Well, crap. Not that. Not an energy war, come on. I don't want to start that. I don't want to start a war with that. Come on. Russia, you should be ashamed.
Steve, many thanks again. Steve Rosenberg, our Russia editor, with the latest there in Moscow. Let's have more on today's exchanges, because the US Secretary of Defense says that he wants Russia to be less able to bully its neighbors. Lloyd Austin was speaking in Germany at a meeting of more than 40 nations about the conflict in Ukraine. Mr. Austin committed to supporting Ukraine's resistance against Russia's invasion for the long haul, in his words, and pledged to move heaven and earth to make sure that Ukraine was ultimately victorious. Paul Adams, our diplomatic correspondent, is with me. What have we learned from these exchanges today, Paul?
Well, Hugh, I think this was the largest single expression of support for practical support for Ukraine that we've seen so far. More than 40 countries answering that call from Lloyd Austin that you just referred to move heaven and earth to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs. A really calculated display of international solidarity, as some countries are moving towards supplying much heavier, more sophisticated equipment. He talked about and praised the UK, Germany and Canada, who have all...
Exactly, that's my home country. That's why the other countries just love to bring equipment to Ukraine to help out, to take out and put back the Russians.
All pledged armoured vehicles in the last day or so.
Nice. We'll just keep it going until Russia ends, until they stop and get arrested.
Now, Sergei Lavrov, as we've heard, calls this a proxy war. Clearly, it isn't. Ukraine is fighting for itself, not for anyone else. But the West's support for Ukraine, military and rhetorical, is now more emphatic, more bullish than ever. And Lloyd Austin says Ukraine can win, and everyone here in the room agrees. He's obviously.
I actually agree with you. Ukraine wants to win. I'm on Ukraine's side right now. Along with you all.
Trying to tie everyone into making sure that that happens. But just to give you an idea of sort of where that rhetoric is taking us, you heard Steve referring to this threat from Moscow. Well, this was triggered by James Heappey, the Armed Forces Minister, this morning, who said that he wouldn't mind if British weapons were used by Ukraine to attack targets in Russia.
Interesting.
The Russian response was a rather specific threat. It said they reserved the right to launch targeted missile strikes at facilities in Kiev.
Wow, Russia, how dare you do that? Russia, this is the worst thing you've ever done. You sent airstrikes in Ukraine to Kiev, eh? And Lviv, you did airstrikes there? Wow, this proves are just stupid.
Even if Western advisors were present. That's a pretty specific and ominous warning. And I think it gives you some idea of the extremely delicate and explosive territory that we're now in, as Steve has already suggested.
Wow, already.
Well, many thanks once again. Paul Adams there, our diplomatic correspondent.
Okay, so... Shut up, Ad. Okay, so I want to explain there. Vladimir Putin, he won't win. He will be defeated. But I mean, Germany has been sending Ukraine till Russia gets defeated. But the great news is, if in my home country, Canada, right now, they send a lot of weapons and vehicles and planes to Ukraine to help out. Even troops as well, US, UK, France, Germany, Holland, and other countries are sending. And Japan, they sent masks for the chemicals in masks, as well as other countries. So yeah, that's all I have to all say. I have to end the video here. Have a great night to you all. Bye. See you next video.